Welcome to an exploration of one of the most critical questions in contemporary political philosophy, the crisis of shared truth and how to rebuild it. We begin with the stark recognition that beside gravity and taxes, few truths remain unmoderated by our subconscious or predispositions. The core problem is this: how does a society pull back from the edge when most words, as recognized by the listener, are essentially bankrupt? The mere fact that this serious question can barely be asked without sounding apocalyptic or defeatist tells us how far along we are in recognizing this state is already a problem. We must take the premise seriously. A convergence of multiple fields has essentially demolished the Enlightenment assumption that shared reason operates on shared ground. We now know perception is predictive, not receptive. The brain generates a model of the world and updates it reluctantly. Two people hearing the same sentence are, in a measurable sense, hearing different sentences. Language is not neutral transmission. Political words activate frames that are embodied, emotional, and preconscious. Consider tax relief versus tax cuts. One activates a frame of oppressive burden being lifted. Epigenetic research suggests trauma and chronic stress can alter gene expression across generations. A threat detection bias carried in cellular architecture cannot be reached by argument. Add the information ecosystem, where every individual inhabits a bespoke reality tunnel algorithmically optimized for emotional activation. Words don't just mean different things, they do different things. If propositional language has lost its shared ground, what modes of communication still manage to cross the gap? Research consistently finds that direct experience precedes conceptual change. People don't reason their way to new frameworks. They have an encounter that cracks the old one open. This suggests the unit of cultural repair is the encounter, structured, unscripted contact with each other's humanity or differential experiences. Narrative operates on a different cognitive architecture than argument. A well-told story bypasses the argument detection system and updates deep experiential templates, helping you inhabit a new perspective. Collective effervescence, being dissolved into a larger social body through shared rhythmic practice, creates pre-verbal solidarity. It's hard to argue with someone whose sweat you share. Now we turn to the long work of trust repair and the harder truths about societal self-correction. Václav Havel argued that living in truth, a commitment to saying only what one actually believes and refusing compliance, creates an underground water table of authentic communication. Historically, societies pull back through unpleasant mechanisms like shared catastrophe, which overrides ideological difference, or generational replacement, which reconstitutes shared ground on new terms. The fact that we can even ask and understand the crisis of shared language means the situation is not fully terminal. A meta level of communication is still occurring. The regime that requires lies to sustain itself has already conceded something to the truth it is suppressing. The central question is whether that underground water table of authentic truth breaks through before the ground above becomes too parched and calcified to receive it. What cannot be said through bankrupt words has a way of finding other forms, in art, in gesture, and in the stubborn persistence of people who refuse to mistake the corruption of language for the impossibility of meaning.